Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to what episode is this? This is the first episode of season 5 of the lower league look. We're back to League 2, new season, first game week. We're here. We've got a nice little surprise for you this week. We're kind of taking a step backwards, but backward steps aren't always a bad thing. But before we do, we've got this little video that we're going to run, which we're going to run every single week. Going to be changing, and you'll see why very, very soon. But I'll speak to you in a minute. Latest today. So today.
There is no, isn't
Yeah.
Mark, I'm an Oldham fan. You absolutely described my childhood.
Oh, it's coming. Oh! Yeah! There we go, champ. Now, before the surprise, a little bit of an explanation for you. So, as you know, Hannah, who was doing the League 2 show with me last season, has gone off to League 1 land because she's been selfish and got promoted. So she's doing the League 1 look along with Harry, and then she's also doing the Stockport County podcast that they've started. But that means that there's a big clash. And when there's a clash, we need to move things around. So what we've done is we've done what Crawley did last season and dipped into the National League to bring someone up. But then what we've actually done by doing that is just scrap the National League altogether. We fucked that off. That doesn't exist no more. So, guys, welcome back for the first time in over a year. Welcome back to the League 2 podcast. It's Grant. Good evening, sir.
I'm fucking here.
Welcome back.
I'm here. I'm back. I am fucking buzzing. I've said fuck 3 times in about 30 seconds of screen time.
And I said it as well. We've had 4 fucks in 2 minutes. Wait, no, hang on. Let's just reword that one. But you get the picture. This is your first time, by the way, seeing my new setup. Do you like it?
I love it.
Like my wrestling belt.
Do you know what? I meant to say this before. I really like your light that you've got going on in the background.
This thing. Oh, yeah, it's a corner light. But I've got a control. For anyone who's not watching, it's a corner light that fires out like LEDs. But I've got a control on my phone, and I can control the colours, the pattern, everything. And I can actually make it so it responds to my voice.
That's good, guys. That's good. That you
So
know,
it's at the bottom.
That sort of thing.
Yeah, I know. And when I speak, it goes. It is quite good. I must admit, I do like it myself. But welcome back. How's the National League been?
Shite. Since we've made the decision to absolutely bin it off as a podcast, because I think we had about 2 people listening to it. One of them was you. The other one is me.
Yeah, I think that's about right.
That's about it. But as you can see, my setup hasn't changed at all. I still have the Hoover. I still have the washing machine sat here. The only addition I have got is the little hat that you can see that you put in the washing machine, and a bag from the butcher's. That's
little hat? Oh, the cap off the washing machine.
The thing that you put in the washing bowl.
Yeah.
That's about the only change I've got. Nothing else has changed. It's all
You don't need to change things, though, do you? This is the thing.
No.
We don't need to change things. The more things change, the more they stay the same. But we're back with I mean, we were talking about this before we started tonight, and I think it's quite safe to say, game week 1, we might have seen goal of the season already. There's at least 4 contenders for goal of the season already in League 2.
Yeah. Do you know what I used to love? See, when you watch like Match of the Day when I was younger, I don't watch Match of the Day as much anymore because
I don't even
watch lower league football. Like, I can't be asked for Premier League stuff. Like, the thing I always looked forward to at the end of the month was goal of the month.
Yeah.
I always looked forward to goal of the month. Even when you watch Soccer AM, you're like, goal of the month time, right? Here we go. Let's see these bangers. All I had to do was watch the Swindon game. And then I was like, we ain't going to see a better goal this month.
Well, that's what you said.
I was proven wrong. There was some amazing goals this weekend.
Well, that was it. You said to me, you went, by the way, that Swindon goal, we're not going to see anything better than that this season. I went, have you seen the Bradford goal? You went, no, and watch that. Alex Patterson's goal at Bradford.
Oh.
And then I said, and have you seen Luke Molyneux's goal? Which was even better. And then following Luke Molyneux's goal, even Jordan Gibson's goal for Doncaster was
so
up there.
many. Does that hurt, by the way, saying like good things about Doncaster?
No, because I've never actually said bad things, I suppose. I've been open.
You've been truthful.
Yeah, and I think what we found this over time is that people kind of came round to it and sort of went, all right, yeah, fair enough. Like the first season when I wasn't trashing Donny, but we both said on that first season they came down, you're going to struggle this year.
Mhm.
You're going to really, and they were adamant that they weren't. And then as the season went on, it was, do you know what? Yeah, we might actually struggle.
Mhm.
And then obviously there was all the Grant McCann stuff last season where people think that I said they should sack Grant McCann, and it was never that. I actually said 4 teams below and 4 teams above Doncaster had sacked their manager. The natural thing would be to think that Doncaster are going to be next because they were on a horrific run. And it was true. That would be the thing. And then they went on that run, and look at them now. I went on, I can't remember what, I think I went on Fools. Yeah, it was a Fools Rush in pre-season preview. And I said there, I think Doncaster will win the league this year. I think Doncaster look phenomenal this year. And Saturday,
good.
we can start there if you want. In fact, no, should we do it in order? Should we start on Friday night's game, Chesterfield and Swindon?
We can start on Chesterfield and Swindon if you want to do so. I'm good to do that.
Swindon have not.
See when you look at the order, it's right at the bottom on Flash Score. But yeah, if we're doing chronological,
yeah, it wasn't good. Do you know, before we actually get into the games, Sky's new coverage of the games, I thought was great. I know people have reported issues, but I really, really liked it. I was delighted with it. I just think that the graphics are a little bit shitty. Maybe need some work. But the first taste we got was Chesterfield and Swindon. Did you watch the game, or were you just?
No, I didn't get to watch it. No,
it was
I've watched all the extended highlights of it, but
there was the game finished 1-1. Chesterfield went 1 up early on, and then I think they kind of shit themselves a little bit when I was watching it because it was like they didn't expect to get a 1-0 lead so soon and so simple.
Yeah.
But
horrendous defending.
The goal for me. Yeah, game week 1 or not, that goalkeeper, Bycroft, that was an offence that should have been dealt with a substitution for me. That is that poor. But they don't have anyone else that they could bring in. But yeah,
say he did keep them in the game going through that first half.
He made a better save. He made a good save, and then he made one for the cameras. But no, the goal that he conceded was horrific.
Yeah,
and he was at his near post, covering his near post. He pulled off the save and battered it up into the air, but he only battered it about 4 foot into the air, but didn't stand up straight. And then when he did stand up straight, he didn't catch the ball. He ended up back laid on the floor and got beaten at his near post.
Yeah.
Like, I can't put my head around. I can't wrap my head around what he was trying to do.
I couldn't get through. Even the defenders were all over the place for that goal as well. I mean, the ball in originally, that ball to pass in was phenomenal.
The outside of the right foot.
Yeah, great pass in, and it caused chaos.
Yeah,
and there was no communication between the defense at all. None with the goalkeeper, and they just made a complete arse of it.
Yeah, the other issue for me throughout the entire game was, and I was on a live watch along on Fools Rush In. We did a live watch along with the game, so I had Ben and I had Fifey, and obviously they're 2 complete polar opposites. And Kieran dropped in for a little bit as well, and I sort of said there was no point in the game where I watched Swindon and thought, oh, their game plan is this, or their style of play is this. They didn't look like they had a game plan. They didn't look like they had a style of play.
Yep.
They should have been 2-0 down. There was a Stonewall penalty that given. One of the most obviously penalties.
Yeah. I don't know how. And then obviously the Chesterfield man, he was protesting like mad for it as well, and he get booked for it as well. But rightly so. If I was Cook, I would have done the exact same. I mean, we're mental for that.
I wonder what voice he protested in. Because he does different voices, doesn't he, in his interviews and things. So I wonder what voice he used to get to protest.
Maybe he could literally like pure Scottish raging.
Well, the thing is, when you do different voices,
penalty.
He could have shouted it and then blamed someone else. It would him. No, it was a Stonewall penalty. So Swindon were lucky there. They came away with a point, and Swindon will definitely be the happier of the two teams, but Chesterfield looked assured. They looked comfortable. They didn't look confident as much as I thought they would, which for a team that, smashed the National League last season, you saw them last season, they didn't look as confident as they did last year.
Do you know what? I think it might have been just a case of them playing safe a little bit. First game back, try and get points on the board. Don't lose. I think will have been the message that was told, like, do not lose your first game of the season at home. And there'll be nerves kicking about the place.
Yeah.
They'll crack on there. They're going to have a solid season this season.
Yeah, and they're not going to drop many points at home.
No.
So it's a good result for Swindon. It's a very, very good result for Swindon, especially based on the performance.
Yeah, early points.
Only 49 points Swindon left to get safety. 49 points, boys.
49 points you're going on?
50 points is safety, isn't it?
You think so?
50 is usually your buffer. That's your aim. Once you get 50 points, you usually mathematically safe.
I always think 40 points is your safe.
Well, 40 points is probably safe, but you end up with teams that go down on like 38 points, and you don't want to be
in the scrap.
Yeah, so it's always I think they've always kind of said 50 points is your aim. Get your 50 points, and then you can put behind you, and move. Just focus on forward. 49 more points, Swindon. 49 more points, Chesterfield as well.
Right. I know we don't like predictions, but where do you see them both sitting roughly at the end of the season?
As in, if the team stays as they are now?
Yes.
Right. If Swindon's team stays as it is now, they'll finish 18th, 19th. Without a shadow of a doubt for me. Fifey and Ben both said that they feel like they need 4 or 5 more players, but they said they're not first teamers they need. They feel like they need depth in positions so that they can cover injuries. After watching that game on Friday, I would say that 3 of those 5 they need are first teamers. They didn't have anyone in midfield that would kind of take the ball and take the game by the scruff of the neck and drag them through it. Mm-hmm. They didn't have anyone at the back that would lead from the back. And then going forward, I know they have Glatzel, and Glatzel for some reason started on the bench, but they didn't have they've got Harry Smith, but they were kind of just playing it to him. When your CDM, your number 6 CDM is playing out on the left wing, you've got a problem.
You definitely got problems there.
Yeah. So right now, Swindon finished 19th, 18th, 19th. Chesterfield, I think I saw enough to say that when they get confident, they'll be playoffs and above.
Yeah, I reckon that I would go easily top 10 for Chesterfield. Easily top 10. Swindon, I would say between 16th and 18th.
Yeah, so around the same point. I think
I don't think they'll go down, but I think they're going to have a horrendous season.
They need to make some. They need to bring some faces in.
Yeah,
they haven't had their. I mean, there's the rumor. Well, there's not the rumor. There's the Shamanga stuff that Dara has come out and kind of. He hasn't named Swindon, but we all know it is Swindon. He said that a League Two club have come in and offered less than 2 National League clubs to take Shamanga. And he's basically said in his own words, I told them to fuck off. He said that those are his own words on his own podcast. I told them to fuck off. So it says one or two things. Either Swindon are being very, very, very cheeky, or Swindon are in a very, very tough position when it comes to financials and bringing players in.
Yeah.
I think it's the latter. But
do you know what?
It'd
be a great player to come in. I know he's had a rough few seasons, a really rough few seasons. But a team like Swindon could really suit him, and if he can hit the ground running there, great. I mean, he had Bournemouth last season. He went down with Bournemouth. They were a poor team for him to be. There was nothing there. There was nothing creatively there for him to do, and he was having to try and run the show himself. But I think with a couple of right players around him, he could be all right at Swindon.
Yeah, and it would be key on those couple of right players around him, because on Friday, Swindon weren't creative.
Yeah.
So it's all right putting, you could put Messi up front in that Swindon team on Friday night. If the ball ain't getting to him and the chances aren't right, there was a point where... it made me laugh. So when I said about the CDM being on the left wing, he went on the left wing, he ran like sort of towards the byline, halfway, basically in line with the 6-yard box. He cut it back onto his right foot, crossed it, and it didn't even land in the box. It landed outside the box. He crossed it backwards. And I was just like, you've got Harry Smith stood in the middle of that box, who's, last season we saw what went on with him last season. He was a great player last season in a shit team. Put it on his head. That's what he's there for.
He's going to score
it to the edge of the box. No. So yeah, it's hard to call because the window's still open. But once that window closes, I'll be a lot more confident in predicting. But right now, Swindon are in for a torrid season.
Poor time.
Let's do some more games.
Should we crack on to Wimbledon, Colchester?
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, because you were kind of quite passionate about that game before we came on tonight.
You know what? It was when I watched it. I literally finished work and I was like, you know what, I'm going to watch a load of this. And it was straight away. First, we spoke about Bradford as well. Like, Colchester come out, expect good things from this season. First minute, bang, good lift. What a goal, by the way.
Yeah.
Again, just like it wasn't an overhead kick, it wasn't a scissor kick. I mean, would you expect that of a centre back? No, he made it look like a striker's goal. It was.
The thing is, I think people would be talking more about it if it was a striker's goal, because if it were a striker's goal, you'd think that he meant it. But as a defender, you think there's no way in hell he meant to do that. That is
no
a
chance.
Swing and hope. Yeah,
it was. I watched. I was like, who the fuck was that? And I was like, oh, that's the centre back. And then he scored a typical centre back's goal.
Yeah.
Again, about 8 minutes later, by both assists from Jack Payne as well.
Yeah, which we don't need to really hide what we think about Jack Payne. Jack Payne is a quality signing for Colchester, but 2-0 up, and
the pants
they shit the bed. Yeah, like Wimbledon fans are kind of in a strange position because they're not best pleased with the likes of Johnny Jackson. They don't want him there as manager. Or some of them don't. I don't know about all of them, but some of them don't think he's a good enough manager. But to come from 2-0 down opening game of the season, smashing 4 goals, you kind of can't argue that he got that right.
You can't debate it at all. It was a great come because they easily could have just shit the bed.
And last season they would have done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But fantastic comeback. Was it Ball, Reeves, Stevens getting the pen? What was the penalty for?
I don't know. I don't actually know. So we had the 606 last night, and I was trying to listen to what it was for, and I don't really think anyone can pinpoint it. So the Colchester fans are kind of adamant that it wasn't. There's Wimbledon fans that were sat in front of it who kind of said maybe it was a penalty, but no one seemed to really know what the penalty was given for.
It was like he was just kind of shoved in the advertising board, if anything.
Yeah.
But it looked like handbags when the ball had went out.
Yeah. Because obviously the ball's out of play.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be a penalty.
Yeah, it was all over nothing. But again, it was a cool penalty.
Yeah.
Like, Stephen doesn't get to miss that. Just slot it in coolly. Keeper went the other way, done. Then Omar Bougiel scoring the 4th just to seal the deal.
I'm going to take credit for him, because I called him out last season when they sold Al Hamadi to Ipswich.
Yes,
I spoke about him about Bougiel and said he doesn't do enough goals wise. He doesn't score enough goals. Anyway, he scored 2 that week. And then he's kicked on since. And I wasn't trashing him in the sense of saying he can't score the goals. I was just saying he doesn't. He hasn't been. And they needed someone to step up, and he has stepped up. And fair play. He's looking strong for him. But then when you put Stevens in there as well, like that's a frightening front line. Really, if they're firing, they could be a dark horse this season. They really, really could be. But I think for their fans, they have to be a dark horse. They have to perform.
Yeah, they really need to crack on because they've not really done much at all since they came down. They've just kind of been a middling team. They've not really had direction. It's like you're saying, the fans were a bit pissy about Jackson. They feel like they should be back up in League One. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know one thing I will say?
Transitional season.
Yeah, but that should have been last season.
They can push this season.
Yeah. Wimbledon didn't have a single offside. And I find that quite a weird stat. Not one offside in the entire game for him, and only 1 offside for Colchester in the game. That's it. Which I think that's unusual. I'm going to keep an eye on that and see how how that plays out. Because yeah, for me, I think they should be having more than one, or at least one.
If you see a game, I'm looking at this just now. If you have a game with one offside, you'll think, well, that's been a boring as anything
Boring
defensive game. Whereas
Yeah.
you've had 6 goals, you've had 10 shots on goal, you've had 30 attempts at goal anyway, and in the entire game, that screams nothing of a boring game.
For me, what it does potentially scream is that both teams played very, very deep, but both defences were shit.
So if you're going to back both teams to score, back Wimbledon and Colchester.
Yeah, or both teams to concede, Wimbledon and Colchester. I still think Colchester will be up there, and I think Wimbledon will be a dark horse potentially. Next few games will be really, really telling because they're going to do some business as well before the end of the window.
Yeah.
Moving on to post Pete Wild Barrow.
I don't like this. This is my first podcast back since Pete Wild's left.
I know. There's actually rumours that obviously we've had, weirdly, one game in, we've had the first casualty in the EFL manager.
I know.
Preston have sacked the manager. They said it's by mutual consent. Consent. Is that what it is? Yeah. Which is weird because if I was a manager that had just had an entire summer and pre-season, I wouldn't be agreeing to cancel my contract.
After one game.
Apparently they were absolutely horrific. So, it probably does make sense. But then at the same time, why was he given the chances that he's been given?
Why be allowed to build a team that you want, spend money, and then just go, well, see you later.
So there's a couple of rumours kicking around that Scott Lindsay is in the list from fans as a potential. And Pete Wild is also a name that's mentioned. I think it's too soon for Pete Wild. I know Pete Wild, after having conversations with, I don't want to say who people connected to Pete Wild over this last few weeks, Pete's kind of waiting for that 10-game mark to see where everyone's at.
Yeah.
And then he wants to see what clubs are massively underperforming, but he knows can perform higher, so that it's like going in and starting to fix those problems.
As opposed to hedging your bets, isn't it? Really, to go right. What clubs can I really work with here? What club has the right ethos for me as a manager? What's that pool of players like? What sort of budget will I be working with? Where are they sitting in the league, and where can I take them to?
Exactly. Yeah, and as opposed to a club that just jumping, let's say Preston, for example, he jumps in. If he can't make the changes that he needs to make before the end of this window, he's got to wait till January. But if that Preston squad are nowhere near the level they need to be, he's going to jump into a relegation battle from day one. And that's why I think it's possibly too soon for him.
He doesn't need that. He doesn't need the pressure of a relegation battle straight away.
It's already pressure enough because it's a big step up.
I was going to say, especially jumping up to the Championship straight away for him. That is an astronomical climb when you look going National League 2, Championship. It's a completely different game of football.
Yeah, and I think that the thing is that Pete is one of the very few people that doesn't have an ego in the game. Like, he was very humble when we interviewed him, and he said like he knows that if football ended today, he could go back. He's got fallback careers. He knows that he could just go back and do it, and he's lived his dream. He doesn't need to kind of go, I'm good enough for the Championship, and back himself with zero proof of it and just jump in. He can wait because his stock is high. What he's done with Barrow, regardless of whether he got them promoted or not, they shouldn't have been there. If you told me when Pete Wild came in that they were going to be knocking on the door of the playoffs both seasons,
two seasons in a row.
Yeah.
I don't expect them to be anywhere near there this season, and that just shows how good a job he's done.
Well, one thing is, it wasn't just. I watched an interview with George Ray. Obviously, we know George he's a fucking lunatic. But an interview with him where he kind of said, the one thing that he says, all Pete asks of you footballing wise is that you can play. He says your level is not as important as your personality and what you bring to the dressing room. And like we saw when we're there, that I don't feel like there'll have been a better dressing room in League 2 last season than Barrow.
I mean, we know how good it was.
Yeah, we were on that training pitch and just seeing how they all, like, everyone was involved. Absolutely everyone. I mean, even the club pastor was involved. The chaplain getting involved in the crossbar challenge. I
forgot about it.
Yeah, and like that's the sort of thing that you want, and that's the sort of thing that he'll bring to a club. So I feel like he's going to be looking for a club that needs unifying, a club that needs that. That's probably more important to him.
Yeah.
He won't be looking as much at what the teams do, as opposed to who the players are and who the characters are in that squad.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see him back at another League Two club.
No, I wouldn't. I have a couple in mind.
Even in a League One club, I would be happy to see him in a League One club. I wouldn't be surprised to see him in League Two again at all.
Yeah, I think he'd be happy to come to a League Two club.
Yeah,
I really do. But Barrow beat Crewe on Saturday, that's a big result for Barrow because Crewe. I went to watch Crewe in the playoffs last season at Crewe against Doncaster in that first leg, and Crewe were horrific, absolutely horrific. And then they went to Donny in the second leg and they dominated. They were brilliant. Then they went to the final against Crawley and Crawley tore them to pieces. And they seem to have a hangover now. Really do. Not a single shot on target in 90 minutes against Barrow. And the winning goal scored by a man of the match debut performance from Vassell, signed from Salford in the summer, who he is a quality player, and it's a great signing for Barrow. But Barrow, 1-0 probably should have been more. Barrow had 3 times the amount of shots as them. They had 4 shots on target to Crewe's 0. It was all Barrow possession wise, and this is the confusing thing. Crewe had 60% of the possession.
60, yeah, it was mad, isn't it?
And didn't have a shot on target. Lee Bell could be the first casualty of the season.
I love how we're 1 game in and we're already talking about potential sackings because the sackings happened in the Championship.
Yeah, but I think Carlisle fans are saying the same, and we're going to come to Carlisle soon. But Carlisle fans are saying the same about Simo. Why was Simo given the summer he should have been sacked after the relegation? They're saying that they believe he'll be the first to get sacked this season. Can you imagine Pete Wild went to Carlisle? Imagine that.
Oh no! Don't do it, Pete.
No, don't do it, Pete.
Don't do it. I hate it.
Yeah, it's not. It's. I mean, Pete, don't. They don't train in Manchester, so you would have to move to Carlisle, and that's the worst part of it. You would be right
closer to me, which I'll be happy with. But
yeah, but Lee Bell could be the first casualty of the season with Crewe, and Crewe would be a club that was. Crewe would be a club that I would see a Pete Wild doing well at. It's local to him. It's south of Manchester.
Do you know, he wouldn't just do well at Crewe. Crewe are a club that have got the facilities there available to be a league-winning club.
Absolutely, yeah. They've got the facilities available to compete in the league above if managed correctly.
Yeah, they are a great team. I said, was it 2 seasons ago, that Crewe were the worst team I'd seen all season, and they'd beat us 3-1.
Yeah, I remember when they beat you, and you were like, they were still horrific.
They were still horrendous, and I get ribbed for that. Something awful.
But they were when I watched them last season. When they played Donny in the playoff game, I said it was the worst performance I'd seen all year. And then the second leg, it was one of the best I've seen all season. And they are so nice. There's no middle ground with Crewe. They're either horrific or they're fucking brilliant.
Bipolar Alexander.
Well, it shows that they can do it, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It shows that they've got it. And this is what I mean about Pete. And we're using Pete Wild as kind of he's like the manager that's hovering. He's like a vulture at the minute, hovering over clubs that are kind of maybe. Because if I'm Crewe's owners, I'm looking after last season and saying, you know what, you got us to the playoff final, but you shit the bed on the biggest game of the season. You're under pressure here. Let's have a look. We've got people, and a club. The thing is, a club's going to have to maybe even act sooner than they'd like. If another club acts, let's say Carlisle get rid of Simo.
I was literally about to say that. Carlisle sack Simo, and they go, Pete Wild's available. Crewe go, we kind of want Pete Wild as well.
Yeah, and you're going to see, I think we've got a very, very good League Two manager kind of looking for a League Two job or looking for a job. And this first 10 games are going to be, I don't think it'll be long until we see a sacking in League Two. I think we'll get one very, very early. But we don't know.
It's a long season. It's already after 1 game a fucking interesting season.
Yeah, a very fucking interesting season. But look, 1-0 to Barrow, and it's look, we'll see what happens with Crewe coming up this next. Obviously, they've got the cup tomorrow. They've got to travel to Rotherham. it's not going to be an easy game going to Rotherham
Yeah.
at all. But then they've got Chesterfield this weekend. My dog's outside being a prick now. Because your dog's not at home tonight. That one's been an arsehole. You can borrow her if you want the next time.
We can't have a podcast without a dog being an arsehole, really, can we?
No, we can't. Last night on the 606, Hannah's was going, and I don't think she realised. And I was sat there and I was going, what's that noise? And I was looking and it was Hannah's microphone. I was going, what's she doing? And then I realised, I was like, it's a dog just going. So yeah, we had that to deal with. But yeah, they've got Chesterfield on Saturday. Then they've got a little bit of a reprieve, I think, because they've got both Swindon and Bromley, who, without being disrespectful to Bromley, I know we'll talk about Bromley very soon. If you're earmarking teams that you think
3 points up,
Bromley and Swindon are two of those teams.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's got to be looking at Bromley this. Again, we're saying no disrespect to Bromley, but they're the new kids in the block.
Yeah,
and they're like, everyone's like, we should do a job on them. But then you go, look, are they going to do a Sutton like what Sutton done when they first came up? No one's played against a team like Bromley in this league.
Yeah, but mate, look, you look at it. They've gone to one of the places that, again, similar to Crewe. We'll talk about Bromley if you want. Bromley and Harrogate. So Bromley went to Harrogate on Saturday. Now, Harrogate is a place where you go and they either turn up or they don't. And when they turn up, they're really, really hard to beat. And if they don't, you just steamroll them. Bromley have gone to Harrogate and have beat them 2-0. First ever game in the EFL. Andy Woodman showing that maybe he's got something special there.
He just does. He just has it.
Yeah.
He has.
He's got the belief.
I love him. I love him. When I met him again down at Pools, and I was like, Andy, he just came straight over. I was like, oh, fucking hell, it's you. And we're just like having a chat. And he remembers everything. He just chats away like nothing else. And
yeah,
it's like we said about Pete Wilde. His attitude is infectious.
Yeah. And that's got to pass on to your players, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And bear in mind, they've had a very quiet summer of Bromley.
Mm-hmm.
We were worried about them looking at their business going, oh, Jesus, this. But then, like we kind of said, like teams that are kind of doing well, and Bromley have had a harder way to get into the EFL than Chesterfield did. Chesterfield won the league. Their season's done. Bromley have then had to go through that horrific playoff campaign in the National League, which is just not fair. And so they've kept the core of the squad together. So they've kind of got that unity already. So Andy's got to be very, very careful about who he brings into that. And he is being, and look, first game, it's shown. Like, he'll be absolutely buzzing. He'll be on the phone to Southgate. Gaza!
I've won my first game of the league of the season. How'd you do? How'd you do over the summer? Shit.
Yeah, I've lost my job. And you can come assist me if you want.
How the turns have tabled.
Yeah, how the turntables. Well. I mean, look, we don't have to go too far into Bromley and Harrogate because they're not two fan bases that we're going to pick up much traction from, if we're honest. But to keep people kind of in the loop about it, 2-0 to Bromley is a phenomenal result. Will this be the season that Carlisle? I'm thinking about Carlisle being shit again. Will it be the season that Harrogate finally
get relegated? Yes.
Yeah, you predicted that every year, so I'm not taking your word for it. You still predicted Harrogate to go down after you'd been relegated. You were mathematically relegated.
Harrogate are gone this season. That's it.
By the way, we never got to talk about this.
Oh, fuck.
How did it feel when you were relegated by one of our first ever guests in Dom Telford?
Oh, do you know what? I sent him a message.
What did you say?
I said, Dom, I can't believe you've done this to me. I thought we were friends.
Did he reply?
I can't remember. He might have. I can't remember. He might have just fucking ghosted. I'd have ghosted me if I'd have sent that. I can't remember. But
I wouldn't. If I were him and he'd have sent me, and someone had sent me that, I'd have been like, get to National League.
Get up, you. But yeah, that was horrendous. But yeah, I sent him that. I can't even remember what he sent back to me. Let's see if I can find it. It was a while ago. I like to forget about that.
Yeah. No, he's I never really got to ask you about it, but yeah, it was funny from the outside because it was like, oh, here we go. That was the first ever like real moment that the podcast had a problem with someone that's been on the podcast.
That wasn't a problem. I was just like,
it was a problem. He relegated your club, Grant. He
I know.
relegated and then celebrated like he took his shirt off, and he
It wasn't a personal problem. With
No, it wasn't a personal problem, but it was a dilemma for you.
Yeah, it was
a real dilemma.
But do you know what? I took relegation better this time than I did the first time we get relegated.
I think you felt like you'd bounce back first time.
Yes.
And you've not yet reached that bottom to bounce yet, have you?
No, not yet. I think we have. I think I do genuinely think we're turning a corner.
Yeah. You won on Saturday.
We did one on Saturday. Sal seems like a good manager, and he says all the right things.
You did say this about your last one though, and I said I think he's shit.
But no, Sal is a proven
he is
National League manager. We've got a good manager, and we're building a good squad. We've got a very thin squad. I'm worried about that, but that's enough on National League stuff.
Yeah. Well, we might see you back soon. Hopefully, we'll see you back soon. To Cheltenham Newport.
Yes.
Now, speaking of games where teams go 2-0 up and then capitulate, that almost happened here.
Mm-hmm.
Cheltenham went 2-0 up. Cheltenham looked brilliant. Newport last season, I know you won't have seen them that much, but we played them last game of the season and we hammered them 4-1. Now, I think they'd gone on an 11-game losing streak at that point, maybe 9.
Went on a horrendous run.
And I was on the pitch at full time and kind of like shaking their coach's hands and stuff. And I said to him, I said, go again next season. And one of the coaches just went, we won't. We'll be down next season. And I went, oh shit. Like this is a coach. Like we'll be down next season. And I was like, wow. But they did show glimpses on Saturday. But yeah, Cheltenham did look like a club that kind of was ready to bounce back in spells. As I say, went 2-0 up and then ended up shitting the bed and conceded a silly penalty. Newport put it away. It was, oh my days, from Crewe, Courtney Baker-Richardson.
I was going to say it's Baker-Richardson.
Yeah, scored the penalty, and then Newport equalised before Cheltenham in the 96th minute. I want to believe it was, scored the winner right in front of the Newport fans as well, which is not good on your opening day, is it?
Flynn will have been buzzing though.
Who will?
Was it Flynn?
Flynn. Yeah, Flynn. I thought he said
quid. No, Flynn will have been buzzing.
Yeah, against his old club.
Yeah, he'll have been buzzing.
Yeah. Like I said, both teams in spells looked comfortable, but Newport kind of have got it's another game that they've lost. So that'll be, like I say, 12? I don't know if it's, let's have a look. I'm going to have a look on their results here. So if I go onto Newport's results and just go back through them. So looking at the league, so they lost on Saturday. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh no, that was the 9th. We were the 8th. So Saturday was the 9th. So they haven't won a league game since the 16th of March.
I was going to say it's the 16th of March against Wimbledon where they won 2-0. That is awful.
It's bad. Well, I mean, if you go back to,
but it's not even just they haven't won a game. They haven't picked a point up.
It's not even. Yeah, they are literally out of 27 points on 0. But they did change the manager. Weirdly, at a very, very weird point though as well, because they didn't sack him straight away. They didn't just at the end of the season say we're going to make a change, we're going to change the manager, and the manager's going to leave. They brought it's Jardim Nelson, who I had to learn a little bit about because I'm still not really 100% sure on his background and.
All I can tell you is he's Portuguese.
Yeah, which will excite some people, but he didn't get the job until the 16th of July. Like that's mad.
It's late.
It's very late when you look at the fact that it's Coughlin, isn't it? He led them through last season, but the wheels didn't just fall off for them. They just disintegrated as a club. They just stopped being, and then they've now got a new manager. He's been in place for less than a month, and I think it's still early days, obviously.
I mean, looking back over his career, just having a look from what I can see, is he was fitness coaching at Swansea back in 2009 and 10, fitness coach at Leicester again 2010. Then he spent a bit of time abroad, Nacional and Olympiacos, fitness coaching again. And then when he came back over to the UK, he was the head of academy coaching at Swindon Swansea for 2 years. And then he was the assistant manager at Birmingham in 2020-21. And then he went back over abroad to Maritimo B as the manager. And he was an individual coach at Newport, apparently for 15 days, and then
became manager.
What the hell's an individual coach?
I think he came into Newport. So Coughlin got sacked on the 20th of June, and I think he came in as kind of a not really sure what his role was going to be, and I think he impressed.
We like you.
Yeah, impressed early on, and they just said, well, we're going to take a run with it. We're going to give you the opportunity, and yeah, he's become manager. He's got a lot of work ahead of him. He's probably got one of the toughest jobs this season.
I think Newport's always a tough gig.
Yeah.
Always a really tough gig, because I've always seen them as this team will they challenge for the playoffs? Probably not. Will they go down? Probably not.
Yeah.
But they
could just sway either way.
Yeah. Would fans settle with 12th? Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember we had the Rochdale scale?
Yeah.
It's kind of like
for
Newport.
1 week.
Yeah.
For 1 week.
1 week.
When Rochdale went bottom.
Yeah. They bottomed out of the scale. But can we say it's the Newport scale now?
No, we need it can't be a scale, but that's owned by Rochdale. We'll think of a name. The Newport. I don't know. We'll think of something. But yeah, I think Newport have got a very, very, very long season ahead of themselves. But Cheltenham looking like a team that will bounce potentially, or bounce well enough.
They'll be in the
mix. And do you know what? So here's a little interesting one for you. 6 new teams in League Two this season. Only 1 failed to pick up points. And it's the one with the most recent experience in League Two. We'll do them now if you want.
Yeah.
Gillingham Carlisle.
Gillingham v Carlisle. I mean, it's hardly surprising, though, is it?
Yeah, it is, though. Look at who Carlisle has signed.
I wasn't surprised that Gillingham beat Carlisle at all. I'm a big thing for Gillingham this season. I think Gillingham are going to be phenomenal this year, and I would have backed Gillingham.
I'd have backed them to win. Yeah. I'd have backed them to win, but like on the 606 last night, I had the guys from the ME7 podcast on, and I said to them, I said, right, when was the last time you did that? Because Gillingham were always a club that was scoring 1 goal. One goal, shut up shop, a 1-1 draw, a 2-1 loss. If they scored a goal and then conceded a goal, they wouldn't win because they'd either draw or they would concede another and they would lose. They wouldn't ever go. It goes back to the COVID season. Since they last smashed someone 4-1. And I can't remember who it was. It may have been Crew. I think it was Crew. It was Crew. They smashed Crew 4-1 in the COVID season. That's the last time they put a result like that. They did barrel 3-0 towards the end of last season, but there was no really for them to play for at that stage, so it didn't really matter.
Yeah.
But in terms of an actual season, 4 years ago, they've been on that.
That's insane. I remember when they were rock bottom, where they were down at the bottom of the league before they took over, and they scored like 3 goals.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
It was awful, and we were like, "You are going down."
Yeah, but they were just accepting that it was happening as well.
It was horrendous. All fans, this is shit. We're bad. We're going down. And then Takeover came in, and they're going to be flying this season. Absolutely flying.
There's going to be a lot of teams flying though at this point. Like we've already decided the top 10 after
it's such a competitive league.
Yeah,
like,
it is. It really is.
I've been kind of keeping a little bit quiet on the League Two side of things and the football side of things recently, but I've been looking at, I hate predictions, and I've been looking at some predictions, and I've been laughing at some of them, going, "Oh, Carlisle top 5, don't see it." Don't see
Depends
it.
how quick they get rid of Simo.
True. I still don't see it this season.
I think they'll be up there. Maybe not top 5. Maybe I think top 10. Just missing out on the playoffs, possibly.
Yeah, I think they're missing the playoffs. I don't see them being top 5.
No, not.
I've just been laughing at some of the predictions that some people have made on it.
Yeah.
I've seen
they obviously signed.
I've seen
Charlie
some people
Wyke,
putting like they did sign Charlie Wyke.
Much to my,
I was going to say, did that hurt?
Dismay. Do you know what? It did and it didn't. So it hurt in a sense of Charlie Wyke wanted to play for Bradford this season. It was quite well documented. And up until the day before he signed with Carlisle, Charlie Wyke was speaking to Bradford fans in DMs about it and saying, unfortunately, I haven't been able to get a deal. Carlisle allegedly, and this is according to Carlisle fans, have offered him nearly $7,000 a week. That's the rumour, and it's from Carlisle fans. Nearly £7,000 a week. So, whilst I'm disappointed, yes, Charlie Wyke isn't playing for us because he is a very, very good player. He's not a £7,000 a week player.
He's a very, very happy man because he's getting $7,000 a week.
Absolutely, yeah.
I'd go to Carlisle for $7,000 a week.
I'd walk from my house every day to Carlisle for $7,000 a week. Like, I would happily do so. But yeah, like I say, he's not a. I am glad we didn't get suckered into that.
Yeah.
That's my view on it. I would have loved to have seen him playing for Bradford this season. He's friends with practically all the Bradford squad. He spent all summer with the Bradford squad.
But all not for £7,001 a week.
But not for more than $7,000 a week. That's the rumor. I'm only repeating what Carlisle fans have told me that they're paying for him.
Surely not.
But what that also does is shows you how much Jake Young did not want to play for Carlisle because he has rejected them on multiple occasions.
There's no way they're paying $7,000 a week for him. Could you imagine how unhappy the rest of the squad would be knowing that one player is getting probably more than the rest of the team put together? And if he doesn't perform it,
that's what it's based on.
So much pressure on him as well as a player going, you have to perform here.
Yeah. If he drags them to a playoff and a playoff win, if he drags them to a promotion, they'll be happy. But if he doesn't, it's a very, very expensive, not just financially expensive, like the morale of the team. There's a huge expense there for if he isn't performing to the level. Like I say, he might not be earning that, but that's just what Carlisle's are saying. They have got new owners, and the new owners are throwing money about.
It's still nuts. Like,
doesn't
I know Luke Armstrong's not got off to the best time at Carlisle, but if Charlie Wyke's not performing, he'll be sitting there going, I don't care how much he's on, put me on. I score goals in this fucking league.
Yeah. Charlie Wyke, he's not. He's still a very, very good player, but it could be it's a massive gamble.
It's a huge gamble.
They have turned on Harry Lewis.
I was going to say it's a bad return in the league for Harry Lewis. Horrific. For a league where he excelled in. He's just not settled in at Carlisle at all last season. The fans have got on his back straight away. I just think he's not feeling at home there. I think he excelled at Bradford because he felt at home. He felt the passion of the club. He got into the whole spirit of it.
Yeah,
he moved
bought
away
into who we were.
Yeah, for the right reasons, he moved away. He deserved the move up the EFL ladder into League One.
Mm-hmm.
He's just not bought in. I don't think the club. He's bought into the club. The club haven't bought into him, and he's really struggling.
I think the issue is for Harry is that when he came into us with no expectations. So when he performed well, everybody went, "Oh my fucking god, this guy is amazing." Carlisle he went in with expected. They paid money for him. They bought him out of his contract, and not only that, they were always going to have a kind of a negative view because they bought the goalkeeper that made the mistake for Bradford that got Carlisle into the playoff final.
Yeah,
and that's a very, very and plus Harry, being brutally honest, does not look good in Carlisle's kit.
Does
or their
anyone look
training
good
gear.
in Carlisle's kit? To be fair, is it horrendous? Yeah.
Jimmy Savile might have, but no, I'm joking, right? But Harry Lewis just doesn't suit it. It doesn't look right. Don't get me wrong, like I loved Harry Lewis at Bradford. I feel like we're in a better place goalkeeper wise now than we were under him. Second season with him, things kind of tailed off a little bit, and I don't really think that that's necessarily Harry's fault. There were things going on behind the scenes at the club that were really, really affecting him. And he didn't necessarily want to leave Bradford. He was told he had to leave Bradford. They'd already made the deal with Sam Walker to come in. And I know that when Carlisle made the offer for Harry, Harry sat down with Bradford and said, look, if you want me to stay, make me an offer. And Bradford said, there's nothing for you here. So he was kind of forced out of that place. But yeah, it's not worked at Carlisle so far. But look, we know what Harry Lewis can do at this level. Harry Lewis can pull off stupidly good saves. Yeah, he's a phenomenal keeper for this level when he's on it. He just needs to get back on it. And I really hope he will soon. I'd love to. Obviously, he's just had a baby, so he's dealing with that as well. He's got a lot of sleepless nights that he's dealing with. But yeah, at least, I mean, there's one of the goals, Wakeling's goal for Gillingham, where he should do better. It kind of goes just underneath his arm when he dives down for it. But at the same time, the back pass from the defence, the no-look back pass into the path of Jacob Wakeling has got to be looked at. He should have not been defending a shot at all there. So yeah, whilst he's at fault there, he's not at fault for the actual reason that they was in that position in the first place. So it's very easy to scapegoat your goalkeeper, isn't it?
It happens at every level.
Yeah.
Every single.
Look at De Gea at Man United. He went from being
exactly what I was thinking about.
Yeah, best goalkeeper in the world one season to get him out of this club a season later. And
training with Aldershot. Was it Aldershot he was training with?
Yeah, he's been training at Aldershot. Well, he's not even been training with Aldershot. He's just been using their ground.
Yeah.
Fiorentina he's gone to as well now.
How do you go from training at Aldershot to go to Fiorentina?
Don't know. I don't know at all. I think he was kind of hanging around, hoping that an English club would pick him up.
So
a good English club would pick him up. Not Aldershot.
Not Aldershot. You're not going to see David De Gea in the National League or League Two.
Imagine it though.
Stockport fans will have been going, we can get him.
Wrexham fans were saying that he's not good enough.
They want Ben Foster back.
Yeah, thank God they're gone. Let's not take away from Gillingham though. Gillingham did look good. Gillingham looked very, very, very good, and it's nice to see from a neutral perspective. It's nice to see them as fans finally getting to
celebrate a good win.
Yeah, and know that once they go 1-0 up, know that that's not it. Like the manager has essentially shown this time we're capable of scoring goals, and we're going to put in performances where you're not going to know how many we're going to score. And I like that. I really, really, really like that as a whole. There was another potential. I don't actually remember the goal itself, but I remember speaking to the ME7 guy last night. He said there's a potential goal of the season from Johnny Williams in there as well, which I'd have to watch it back. But I'm very, very, again, a team that's going to be up there, Gillingham. Carlisle, top 10. It's going to be hard to predict a top 10 this season because we've currently got 23 teams in it.
Really difficult. I'm going Gillingham playoff, so.
Yeah. I think so.
Comfortably.
So, next game, and this one hurts. Fleetwood 1, Grimsby 0. Apparently, Grimsby fans absolutely just appalled with what they've witnessed. And look, we know our tell, and I've still got a hell of a lot of time for Artell, and I think that Dave Artell is a very, very good coach at this level. But something isn't right at Grimsby.
It's not been clicking at all. But you see, since the second that Artell walked in the door, it's not been clicking with Grimsby.
No.
There's something fundamentally missing. The fans aren't buying into him. I don't think he's buying fully into the club. It's a shame because he's a good cunt. Like,
yeah,
there's really no other way to say it. He's a good cunt.
No, he really is.
Yeah, and I don't know what the fix is with Grimsby.
No, I don't either. It's a very, very weird situation. Is Grimsby? There's just nothing. There's nothing in that game that kind of you look at and go, Grimsby could do all right. They could be. It was just very, very, again, 0 shots on target, which is it's never a good sign. I know they're away and they're away at Fleetwood, who obviously have just come down from League One, but I wouldn't.
You would think you can pick teams points up off, even though they've just come down. I would look at them and I'll still go, by the way, you can pick points up off you.
Judging by what Grimsby fans have said about the game, I wouldn't be overly excited and confident if I was a Fleetwood fan walking away with a 1-0 win.
No.
And absolutely dominated on possession. Grimsby had nearly 70% of the possession, but just did nothing with it.
Everything, but not a single shot on goal. Whereas on the other side, you had Fleetwood, who had none, but had 4 shots on goal, 11 goal attempts overall.
Yeah. Fleetwood nearly had as many shots on goal as they almost had as many shots on goal as Grimsby had shots in total.
Yeah.
There's something.
Just get the ball and shoot with 33% possession.
33% of the possession. So what would that be? 33% of possession. You're talking about 27 minutes of the game. They had the ball, so they had a shot every 3 minutes that they had the ball. It's fucking nuts, isn't it? And then there's a fucking shit. Yeah, Grimsby had no shots on target for like 60 odd minutes of the game.
Gonna be a long season, Grimsby fans.
It is early days, and there's still a lot of work to be done. But Grimsby fans, like you say, they're not buying into it right now.
Thing is, look, you see when the fans don't buy into it this early in the season, they haven't since last season. It's going to make it so much more difficult for Artell to do anything.
Yeah.
If they don't buy into this that he's doing, or if he doesn't give them something for them to buy into, he's not going to be there by Christmas. And I don't like saying it because I like him and I think he's a good manager, but he will find it difficult to come back to walk straight into another managerial job in League Two if he doesn't turn this around at Grimsby. He has to turn it around. He has to try and get time through this, but he has to give the fans something to believe in here.
Yeah, and I think people might think that we're being harsh because it is only one game into the season, but it's not. This is Grimsby under Dave Artell now, plus the back end of last season, and the fans. He's already starting this season. He went into Saturday's game already on a negative with the fans because the fans weren't buying into it last season. So it's so hard to claw back. He needs results, and he needs results soon. We're playing them tomorrow night in the cup at their ground. I don't know. I wouldn't want to face us, and that's not me being like smug or arrogant or anything like that. But I wouldn't want to face us tomorrow.
They've got used in the cup. They've got yours in the cup tomorrow. Then they've got Cheltenham. So first home game. That's a must win for them. It's going to be a tough game for them against Cheltenham. Then they've got Notts County. Then they've got yourselves again. Then Chesterfield. So they've not got an easy run. Then they come into the games where you think they might be able to pick up some points here. Barrow. Then they've got Bromley. They've got to look at Bromley as a must-win game there. Then it's then it's horrendous. Carlisle, Gillingham, Doncaster.
Yeah,
It's a really hard run up to.
It's a hard one for anyone. I wouldn't want that run for us.
It's a bad run of games. No,
yeah, it's not a good run of games whatsoever. So
I do feel for Grimsby. I do feel for Grimsby fans.
I do, because I really want them to do well this season. I want Artell to do well. But fan pressure is very, very, very key at this level. And
Grimsby fans can be hostile. Grimsby fans can be hostile.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of the most hostile fan bases in the league.
Yeah. And he might not get the time that he needs. Yeah, he really might not.
What else have we got to talk about?
Bradford MK Dons. Right.
Bradford MK Dons.
I'm going to say this now. I went into that game and I said I wasn't looking forward to this season. I'm quite disillusioned with Bradford at the minute. I'm not overly excited about it. You know, there's personal feelings there for that. It's nothing against the players, but there's two ways that our season's going to go one of two ways, because we saw two different teams last season. The team that we were in the last 7 games of last season, if we can maintain that and just add a few players to it, which we have done, we will be up there. If we are the team that was the first 35 games of the season and we just stick with what we've currently added, we'll struggle. On Saturday, we started like the team we were at the back end of last season. We went 1-0 up after a minute and a half. Alex Patterson with an absolute thundercunt of a goal. Beautiful. Cutting from the left-hand side from Tyreek Wright, who's now joined us permanently. And then a few minutes later, Tyreek Wright again with a crossing that's looped off the defender, Shepherd, I believe it was, who's then hit it into his own goal. A horrible own goal. You don't want to start your season off with an own goal at home.
No.
One thing I'm going to say, and it made me laugh, this, and it's about MK, it's not about us. So MK were taken over on Friday. They sold, Winkleman sold, and they wanted to say thank you to Winkleman, so they had a crowd surf banner made.
Right.
There weren't enough fans there to crowd surf it. So they just held up at the back of the stand, they just held it up, but there weren't enough fans down the stand to hold the entire thing. So where it said thank you, that was just folded in under itself. So essentially they were just holding a big flag of his face. It wasn't good.
Gotta love a tifo display at MK.
They'd have been better just draping it over the seats, because I don't know what thought went into thinking we can do a crowd surf here when they don't have a crowd.
Yeah, that's hardly ideal.
No, it wasn't good.
Right.
What I will say is that just before we move on from that, go on.
Yeah, I was going to say, while we're on Bradford,
yeah,
Jake Young
gone.
I know, but fucking mad, isn't it?
Oh, it's insane. It's absolutely insane. By the way, that's not me speaking from a place of knowledge or anything. That's just me saying, in my opinion, Jake Young's gone.
Yeah.
We brought a striker in today. We brought a striker in on loan from, I believe, Fulham. I can't remember. Like I say, I'm quite disillusioned with it, but we brought a lad in from I think Fulham, which means the striker's going out. The fact that we're about to let a striker go who only played half of last season and scored, I believe, 2 goals less than Andy Cook in that half a season. And that's not a knock on Andy Cook, because Andy Cook has been consistently performing for us since he came. I love Andy Cook. I think Andy Cook is one of the best strikers, best out-and-out goal scorers at this level. But the fact that we're not going to give Jake Young an opportunity to try and recreate what he did at Swindon last season is, unless the club that comes in is offering an eye-watering amount of money that we cannot afford to turn down. But then at the same time, if they're offering an eye-watering amount of money that we can't afford to turn down, we don't go out and sign a Fulham youngster on loan. We go out and spend money. We go and buy Shamanga. We go and buy Romany Critchlow from Peterborough in terms of, to bring a defender in, because we do still need a defender. We've got Byrne. I know you know about Byrne.
I like Byrne. I think Byrne's all right.
My view on Byrne and this situation is a strange one. Is that
I'll give you mine first, right? And I've told you this before. I think Byrne is a good defender, right? Mm-hmm. So if he was in Football Manager, one of these things, the stats, it was like he's a good player to have in your team or whatever it says.
He's a squad player.
He's not just a squad player, he's just a good player. You'd play him, you would start him every week. And he'll always be a minimum, or always be a 6 out of 10. Every single week, he will be a 6 out of 10. He'll go in, put his boots on, go out, do his warm-up, boom, done the job, off. You don't see him again. That's it. He's kind of the unrecognised centre-back who just goes on, does it. That's you. I never rave about him. Maybe once I've said he's had a phenomenal game. But he just does it, and that's it.
Yeah.
I don't think he's exciting, but I don't think he's terrible. He's just burnt.
My view on it is that we signed Timmy Odesina from you. And Timmy Odesina played alongside Byrne.
Yep.
And Timmy Odesina was the better of the players. He was phenomenal for you. So we signed the better of your defensive options, and he then couldn't get near our first team. So we've released him. And we've now gone and signed the guy that wasn't deemed as good as him. And that's kind of my view on it. Who last season played in part for Stockport, but very, very few
and he
actual
started
games.
And he started the first game of the season for you.
And people were saying that he looked lost.
Look, he's rating on Flash Score 6.5.
So there you go. There you go. Yeah, spot on. That's so. It didn't, like you say. You don't. He doesn't excite you. He didn't excite you as a player. He didn't excite me as a signing.
He's good.
He's probably good to have as for me. He's reliable. But he's replacing, or he's coming in the position where we had Matty Platt, who statistically, Matty Platt, and Bradford fans I don't think realise this. Statistically, Matty Platt was one of the best defenders in League Two last season.
He was phenomenal.
And he's gone to Notts County, and Notts County fans said on Saturday, like they know where I was coming from now. They can't believe that they've been just allowed this player. Look, first 10 minutes of the game Saturday, we looked great. We then kind of took our foot off, which I hope isn't an indicator of what the season's going to be like. Because for me, I think we should be, if you go 2-0 up at the favourites to win the league, you keep going. They were rocked. We let MK back into the game, but then we just let them control the game. But we just, every time they came to actually attack, there wasn't much of a threat there. And it finished 2-1 to Bradford. Now, similar to Chesterfield, MK Dons will not drop many points at home. They will not lose.
No,
you'll count on one hand the number of games they lose at home this season. You possibly count on one hand the number of times they'll drop points at home this season. So for us to go and pull 3 points out of the bag, I am delighted that we have gone to MK. It's phenomenal for me. Getting that one out of the way and pulling 3 points out early doors. It's probably the best game we could have on opening week
against league favourites.
Yeah,
just
because
at home it's done. If you lose, you're going to go right. That one's
we
gone.
all expected to lose. We all expected to lose.
The carpet.
Yeah. And kick on from game 2, but we've gone on one, and that puts us in a position of fuck me. We've shown that we can be part of this.
You wouldn't want them in game 20. You wouldn't want them game in 39. You would go, we've got playoffs to fight for here. We've got whatever. We've got top 3 to fight for. I guess that, or you're just randomly clapping.
It's I went. I remember we used to do the clap. I can do that.
We get top 3. We're trying to get in the playoffs. We're looking at our fixtures coming up, getting nervous about certain games. This is a game you'd go, no, I don't want that one. Don't want to travel
to MK towards the end of this season. No.
But that first game done, golden ticket.
Yeah, absolutely. So now I'm quite happy with that. Another team that came down and kind of bounced straight away, Port Vale. Port Vale are going to be a top 3 side this season.
100%.
Yeah,
you know I love Port Vale. I've always had a wee bit of a soft spot for Port Vale, and I've seen them winning this all the time. I think Salford are going to be another team that are going to struggle this season, big time.
They've lost pretty much all their big character players.
They've lost all their character players. They've lost their way. I think they've lost their identity a little bit.
Yeah, they're having a little bit of a reset at the minute. Gary Neville's bought out Peter Lim. which for me says that he's bought out Peter Lim because he's got someone lined up to come in and take those shares.
They have to.
They've asked for investment, so I think that they're going to have investment at some stage. But as it stands right now, they've lost Elliot Watt, they've lost Callum Hendry. Those two players alone, and like it might sound biased because I speak
Hendry?
so highly of them. Yeah, Hendry's gone to MK.
Hendry?
Yeah. Not that Hendry. I'm not doing it, Grant.
No. I was waiting for you to cue it up.
No. It don't work. It don't work on just Hendry, Grant. It doesn't work on just Hendry. That's not how it works.
Joe Hendry, though, doesn't it?
Say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry.
It's going to get old very quick. No, so Elliot Watt and Hendry were kind of like the personality. They were I feel like they were.
Again.
No, don't, because I've not got my finger over it. They were kind of like the personality of the dressing room, and obviously they've lost Matt Smith. The Vassell's gone to Barrow. The good thing for them is that they have got Osama Ashley back from injury. He spent most of last season injured, so they've got him back in it. But yeah, losing 2-0 at home to Port Vale on opening day is never ever a good sign. And I know it's a hard game because Port Vale are going to be up there, but Salford needed to kick on this season, and that's a sign of them being maybe a little bit off of where they need to be performance-wise. We'll see. They're playing Doncaster tomorrow night in the Cup at home. So, again, it's another tough game for Salford. I know it's a Cup game, but it's a tough game to have. And then they've got to go to Bradford on Saturday.
And then Chesterfield, then MK Dons.
Well, yeah. And then Fleetwood.
It's a horrendous run again for Salford. They need to get points early because if they're wanting investment coming in, any potential investors will be going, right, what we're looking at here.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously there's the Gary Neville side of things, there's the Class of 8. There's all of those things. There's pull in for them. There'll be investment coming in, but they'll go, where's our money going towards the end of this season? Because it ain't going to be in this window. It's going to be January before that even comes in, if any sort of investment can come in before then.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think looking at their fixtures, the first game where I look at and go, that's one that they should be earmarking 3 points straight off the bat is Walsall on the 21st of September.
It's a long way down the line.
It's a hell of a long way down the line.
A long way down the line.
Yeah, I mean, at that stage, you're looking, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games into the season before they're going to look at picking up what I would say is as like a banker if I was putting a bet on them. But again, it all depends on the run between now and then, what they do. Yeah, not good. They need to make some more signings. I believe they need to replace what they've lost. They really do. I know they got Dan Chesters, who was obviously at Barrow last season, but they still need to pull some more in. They're not where they want. Mind you, I don't know what their expectations are for the season. I don't know whether this is a consolidation season because they have spent heavily this last sort of 4 or 5 years, very heavily. And I know that this last 12 months or so, they've kind of torn that back and they've stripped budgets back a little bit because they're trying not to spend as much. They're trying to do similar to what Crawley did, not throw money at it and expect the results, actually earn it from good footballers that don't have a lot of experience, maybe.
Yeah, we thought last season would have been their season before we seen them actually play football, and they were fuck awful. After the failed playoff attempt, but everyone who failed in the playoffs last season pretty much had a middling to nothing season.
Well, we all started the same. So there was us, Salford, and Stockport all down the bottom.
Yeah,
and this is a game why I think that sacking Mark Hughes at Bradford was the wrong decision, because we sacked Mark Hughes. I think 11 games in, we were 2 places above Stockport County, who stuck with their manager and went on and won the league. Yeah, but all 3 of us had poor starts. Stockport recovered to a level where they were just fucking unstoppable. We recovered to a level where we just missed out on the playoffs, but Salford never really recovered from that start. They just kind of bottom to middle bounced about that for the.
And I think they'll be this. I think they'll be the same this season. I think they'll just bounce about that bottom to middle this season again.
A lot of work.
Unless something comes in, there's a lot of work to be done at Salford this season.
A lot of work.
Could be a good journey. It could be the same as what we've seen at Doncaster last season. Have a really, really poor start, and
they
then
kick on.
turn it around and just have
Yeah.
some sort of crazy astronomical rise.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it could happen.
Love
We've
seeing-
seen it happen. So next game, I've got a stat for you about Tranmere and Notts County.
Other than the fact it was 0-0, fuck all happened in it.
Well, it's about the 0-0.
Yeah.
Notts County only drew one game 0-0 all season last year. Yeah, and they've already drawn 0-0 this season. They drew 0-0 once all season.
Who was that with?
I have no idea. I can't remember. But yeah, they drew 0. Notts County's defence leaked so much last season, but they scored goals. Obviously, they had Langstaff. They've lost Langstaff now.
Yeah.
They've kept Jody Jones, but they've also showed up the defence with the likes of Matty Platt. So this is, as much as this is, like you say, a 0-0 game, nothing really happened. It was meh.
It's huge for not actually conceding.
Yeah, huge, like absolutely huge. Away from home, opening game of the season, not conceding that's a huge positive for Notts County.
You know what I'm doing now? I am now looking through to see who that 0-0 was with.
Find out who it was. That's
I'm scrolling. I'm one of these. I'm not going to settle until I've found it.
Yeah, just once last season. That's all it was, and it stretches back to
Morecambe.
At home or away?
Away.
Yeah, there you go then.
0-0.
That's it all season. 1-0 game all season. And you look at their result,
almost a year ago to the day as well.
Yeah. So that was the thing with Notts. You were guaranteed goals in a game every week.
It was, yeah. Again, we spoke about that early last season for them, about how they were just a team of going, you score 4, we'll score 5.
Apart from the opening game where Sutton, who finished rock bottom of the league, smashed them 5-1, I think.
5-1 it was, yeah.
Like, who would have seen that coming as a season for Sutton after that game? Strange one, isn't it? Look,
good
not
stat.
much to really talk on the game. It's a very good stat, isn't it? It's a nice little factoid there. Last game, Walsall Morecambe. Look, Derek Adams is back at Morecambe. Did you see what they did? I know, obviously.
I love the fact that Derek's back at Morecambe. Group chats went mental, didn't they? When he went, it was like, fucking Derek Adams. What's he doing?
Taxes, water being wet, and Derek Adams going to Morecambe and making Jan Songo his first signing and captain. Right.
It's the most Derek Adams thing ever.
It is. Did you see how they announced their signings?
No.
Okay. I'm going to give you a guess as to what they did. So I think they've made 17 signings overall. What do you think they did with the first 15 of them?
I mean, that's did they do like NBA style run out on the basketball court style?
No, but that's a phenomenal idea, by the way, and I want to implement that somewhere. So I'm going to make a note of that because I think we could do that. But no, they didn't. That's a fucking great idea, though. No, they didn't do it.
Things like that I like.
Oh, it's stupid.
Yeah.
It's fucking ridiculous what they did. Do you know what they did? They just went, fuck it. Twitter announcement. Morecambe are pleased to announce that we've signed 15 players and just fucking listed them. They didn't do individual announcements. Nothing. They didn't do none of it. They just announced in one video, they just had the media guy from the club, walking around. What's your name? Where have you come from? Oh, my name's George Ray. Again, George Ray signed from 15 players, just one after the other, in one single announcement, because we were sat there going, Morecambe haven't made a single signing. What is going on? And then
they just go, decks out.
Yeah.
15 signings.
It turns out they had made signings. They just not told anyone. And then they just went, oh, fuck it. Oh, yeah, we forgot to tell you this. We've got 15 new players in. Here they are. And just announced 15 players. And that is incredible. That is Derek Adams just going, don't tell anyone what we're doing. We'll just tell them when we're ready.
And imagine trying to keep George Ray quiet, though.
Well, mate, I was sat there going, George Ray's still not got a club. Why haven't we signed George Ray? Like, why aren't we going in for George Ray?
Why has no one signed George Ray?
Because he was fucking already signed for Morecambe.
Like one of the single best centre-backs last season. Like,
yeah, him and Tom White, who, obviously in the Barrow team they were kind of bouncing off each other at Barrow. They both signed for Morecambe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine trying to keep it going. Right, George, we signed you. don't fucking say anything.
Yeah. Well, George Ray was too busy selling his boxes online to people.
Yeah.
Dirty man. But then they lost on Saturday 1-0 to Walsall. I think Walsall are going to have a bad season. Walsall fans have been very, very quiet this summer. Last season, they were so smug and arrogant when I said that they wouldn't be where they wanted to be. And I got so much abuse from Walsall fans last season.
Oh, I got it as well from Walsall fans.
Yeah. And this summer, they've been very, very quiet. And I think they've looked and kind of gone, we're not doing what we want to do. And I do think, a 1-0 win against Morecambe on the opening day, considering the turmoil that Morecambe have got off the field as well. They're currently trying to get the new owner in. There's been a few, the club are essentially, the CEO and all the club staff are coming out and publicly criticising the owner and telling him to sell. So there's a hell of a lot of stuff going on off the field. I don't think picking up a 1-0 win against Morecambe is as big of a thing as it would have been a couple of years ago. But we'll see what happens. I just don't think that Walsall are where they need to be yet.
They've not been for a while, have they?
No. And I think they've kind of come around to that way of thinking now
I don't think Walsall have been that way since we piloted this show.
Yeah.
When we done the pilot, we originally done it with a Walsall fan on it as well. And
did we?
Yeah, original pilot was me, you, Chris, and a Walsall fan.
No, it was Oldham.
Was it? No, it was a Walsall fan on it. That was when we done the original pilot.
Which didn't we didn't actually put out.
No, we never put it out.
I remember. Yes, shit, we did, yeah. And then we had Oldham Chris.
Yeah, and it's just been, they've been shit ever since, really. We've came up, we've went down, and the Walsall have just stayed consistently poor.
Yeah. It's
they've
not
had Flynn, they've got rid of Flynn.
Yeah, they've got Sadler now. I think they've still got Sadler in. I haven't. I've never been inspired by Sadler as an appointment, but
to have a team that can't be like semi-successful with Flynn there as well.
Yeah, but then again, he went to Swindon and it happened with him there. But again, off the field with Swindon, there's so much turmoil.
There's so much turmoil.
Yeah, so it's difficult. But no, I still think that Walsall will be meh for the season.
Good word for it.
Meh. Yeah. Meh. We've covered every game. That's the first time in about 2.5 years we've covered every game.
And we've covered it in just under an hour and a half.
Which is beautiful. So I want to ask them for you. I said we don't like predictions, but I have my top 3.
Oh.
Now, you don't necessarily have to put them in the top 3 order, but for me, I will put them in order. I think Doncaster, Port Vale, and Notts County are the 3 that will go up automatics in that order.
Oh, it's so hard to predict this season.
Yep.
It's so hard because then you've got MK Dons as well.
I think MK Dons will massively underperform for what they are expected to do.
Port Vale for sure.
Yeah.
MK Dons.
Ooh.
Donny.
You've got Port Vale winning the league, haven't you?
I don't know.
Ooh.
I don't know. I'd like to see Port Vale win the league, but I don't know.
Who are you 2 going down? I can predict one already, which is Harrogate. Who is your other one?
Harrogate are going down.
Do you want to know mine? Harrogate is one of them. Newport.
Oh, you'll upset Kieran. Don't say that.
It's fine. Don't worry about it. He works for them. Yeah, he works for them. Don't worry about it.
That's fine.
Upset him all you want.
They can hit the deck and go down then.
Yeah, hit the deck. Hit the ditch.
Hit the ditch. This is a horrendous one.
I have the logs. I know what you've done. Okay. Drive to Aberdeen.
No, don't tempt me to do that. Fucking hell. This is a horrendous question. Harrogate and Walsall.
Oh, really?
Do you know what? Fuck it. Yeah, I'm picking really finely on that, and I'm looking through teams that I think will be all right, and think, no, I'm going to change it.
Shit yourself, didn't you?
Yeah, because I kind of just picked that out of nowhere. Harrogate and Grimsby.
I hope you're wrong. I do hope you're wrong.
Harrogate and Grimsby. I am sorry. You hope I'm wrong, but you know there's logic in it.
Oh, there's 100% logic in it. There's so much work to be done, but there's so much work to be done. But yeah, no, I can see where you're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
But look, how's it been your first session back then? After it's been. I think you did one last season, just kind of a little jumping one, but it wasn't a League Two episode. It was just a random episode we did. But it has been 15 months since your last League Two podcast.
I know.
How has it been?
It's good to be back. I was saddened to have been relegated down the National League because sadly my club plays in the National League. But it's so good to be back. Do you know what? It's felt like I've never left it at all. And yeah, it's been a wild ride over the last 15 months that we've had. And yeah, good to be back home.
Who's your League Two team?
Who is my League Two team this season?
Yeah.
I think I've said it. It's got to be Port Vale.
Oh, of course he's going to pick the fucking best team in league.
That's it early doors.
He knows that his team are going to be that shite. He's picking favourites for this league.
I've got a soft spot for Port Vale. I've always had a soft spot for them. So if it was last season in League Two, I would have said Mansfield because Big Russell's just gonna. He's
and by the way,
for that, and he's not put it in as that's weird. He's got a soft spot for Mansfield because the big man, but it's got to be Port Vale for me this season.
A point to finish on, right? And this shows the strength and quality of League Two as a league. All 4 promoted sides from last season won in League One this season, this weekend, and they didn't play shit sides. Blackpool travelled to Crawley. Scott Lindsay picked up again. Crawley written off. Blackpool travelled to Crawley, picked up a win. Stockport won at home. Louis Barry with an absolutely outrageous lob of a goal, ridiculous against Cambridge. Wrexham 3-2 at home to Wickham. They were winning 3-1 up until I think like the 88th minute or something like that. And then you've got Mansfield. They played at home on the Friday night against Barnsley, which isn't an easy game for anyone.
No, it is when you've got Ben Killip in goals.
Yeah, but it's also a localish game, isn't it? For them, there's that riding on it, which I mean, I don't know why they've got Ben Killip in goals.
I don't know, he's shit.
Yeah, but look, Mansfield, they were 2-0 up as well. And, League One's going to be interesting. I know we've got the League One podcast, guys. If you're interested in just football in general, give it a listen because they're going to be diving into some of the games. And you look at like Birmingham spent, I think, nearly £16 million this summer.
Yeah.
Didn't win. You've got that. Steve Evans signed about 48 players for Rotherham, lost at Exeter and refused to shake the Exeter manager's hand at full time. Some big games in there this weekend.
It's going to be a wild League One season. I can't really predict what's going to happen in League One because I'm going to say our 4 that have went up are going to cause problems. A lot of problems. People
are going to write Crawley off from minute 1 again, and Crawley are going to, if they can hold on to Scott Lindsay, Crawley are going to cause unreal problems.
Can you remember when people were laughing about so we had the interview with Preston, and they were laughing about him saying, "Oh, imagine if we got to the Premier League." I mean, they're not going to get to the Premier League, but I mean, stranger things have happened. You look at where Luton were and where Luton are now.
Yeah.
But they're doing well.
Oh, they're doing phenomenal. And Preston's running the club solely now as well on his own.
Yeah. It's just, if he comes back, if he gets them even in the Championship at some point, it's mission accomplished.
It's already mission accomplished now.
Yeah.
Like
these crazy fucking crypto boys coming in.
Yeah. Well, they said when they came in, we want to get promoted within 2 seasons. And that first season was such a disaster. I mean, they were in a relegation fight with you.
Yeah. Nearly went down.
Yeah. They relegated you, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
They sent you down with that game. And then, so they took, they kind of it's like in a cartoon. You know when you see someone about to like sprint and they do that thing where they lean backwards and kind of lift one leg and
Yeah.
then go. Whew. They kind of did that. They went right far back and then just went. Whew. And I tell you, we played them opening game of last season, and the guy that scored the goal for Swindon, Will Wright, who scored that phenomenal goal this weekend, he scored against us for Crawley in the opening game of last season, and they beat us 1-0. Scored a free kick, another great goal. From game one, you just knew they had something, and Scott Lindsay knows how to get those players performing. So I'm fucking delighted after everything he went through at Swindon, after all the shit that he had to deal with at Swindon. I'm delighted that he got promoted, and not only that, that he's now causing upsets in the league above as well. But that's for the League One guys to talk about. But that's guys,
Go give them a listen.
Yeah, the League One look. He's on Twitter. They're going to be hosting their own 606s at the same time. I don't know if it's the same time as us, but they're going to be hosting them over the weekend at some stage. So there's the live shows there. You can go in and give them a listen. But yeah, they're on Spotify. They're on Apple. They're on all the shit that we're on. But yeah, we've reached the end. We've done it.
We're here. Another podcast done.
We are. I was trying to think of something that I could say that would like relate to end it, but would relate to kind of current events.
We've hit the bottom like a shit hitting Jordan's stomach.
Well, right. Okay, I was just gonna say, right, like a turd in Katie Price's boyfriend. Let's get out of here. Yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, just don't type in Katie Price on social media for the next 6 months because you will not like what you see. I had to see it. No, I'm not doing. I'm not sharing it.
No, not you. Just search it.
Oh, you're telling them to do it. Right? Yeah, I had to see it. Therefore, Grant had to see it, and therefore, a lot of people I know had to see it. My nan wasn't too impressed by it, but hey, in for a penny, in for a pound. Guys, it's been great.
It was definitely more than a pound. What was on our stomach?
Yeah. Oh my days, there was. I'm struggling to see if it was just one person. If I'm honest with you, that's a lot. We'll see you next week, guys. We'll be back with episode 2 of the new season. We hope you've enjoyed it. And anything you want to say, Grant?
We've been the lower league. Look, felt good.
We haven't done that for a while. Yeah.